for me today to bring you greetings from this family whom you show your love to, for this family that you have shared so much of your life with, for this family who is so thankful to have been part of the family that Miss Maxine was in. So I say thank you to you for being here today as we say thank you to her and as we celebrate her life and as we remember the contribution of her family through all of these years. They say behind every good man, there's a better woman. And we may be witnessing that to some extent today. So when I think of all that they have done, I think of all the quiet strength that she has shown behind the scenes forever. She really and truly has been the other mom of a lot of young men and middle-aged men and older men who found their way perhaps to the wrong side of the tracks for a while. And how she loved and cared and fed for them and encouraged them. I would probably say it will just never be forgotten by those who were under her loving care and concern whenever it was necessary. I would point out two things or three things, just one-word sentences. Paul said to his church family in Philippi these words, "I thank my God upon every remembrance of you." And that's how I feel about her, and that's how I feel about this family. And in the middle of the trials of Nehemiah and the struggles that he had in carrying out the Lord's command, he said once upon a time these words, "Now therefore, O God, strengthen my hands." And I wonder how many times in the quiet of the morning she must have prayed a prayer as simple as that, but asking for the same thing. Because what she has done with her hands is beautiful indeed. And last but not least, when Nehemiah was finishing his writings in the very last chapter of the book of Nehemiah, in the very last verse, he wrote these words, "Remember me, O my God, for good." And how else would we remember her except for good? It has been said that the most beautiful example of an instrument of God's peace is one who knows truly how to share his love. And when you think of how she shared her love, it was with everything that she had, without caring about color, creed, station, or value of life as perceived by others. She just simply loved. And as a community and a county, we have been blessed because of that. We welcome you to the celebration of her life. And we thank you for being here with this family today.
Tommie Maxine Atkinson. On Monday, March 4th, 2019, Maxine passed from this life at Maury Regional Medical Center in Columbia. She was 83 years old. Maxine is survived by her husband of 66 years, Frank B. Atkinson, her daughters, Pam Morgan, Susan McNabb, both of Centerville. Her grandchildren, Nicholas McNabb of Searcy, Arkansas, Lindsey Bailey of Columbia, Tennessee. Her great-grandchildren, Lily McNabb and Knox and Sloan Bailey. Two brothers, David Thompson of Nashville and Earl Thompson of Fairview, Tennessee. She was preceded in death by her parents, John D. and Bertha Hinson Thompson of Pleasantville. Maxine was born and raised in Pleasantville, Tennessee. She was known by many for her beauty and intellect. A very talented and accomplished seamstress, she made countless sets of clothing for her family. She was also very gifted at the art of cross-stitching, and much of her work is framed and on display in the house. Maxine was an outstanding homemaker. On February 7th, 1953, Maxine Thompson married Frank D. Atkinson, and for the next 66 years, you rarely saw one without the other. In '64, Frank and Maxine made residence in the Hickman County Jail, while Frank served as sheriff. Over the next 25 years, Maxine served a vital role at the jail as a bookkeeper, a jailer, a cook, and much more. Frank has always said he could not have done it without her, and she was always available to do whatever was needed. She was beloved by many, but none more than her family. She was a consummate wife, mother, grandmother, and friend. And on behalf of the family, we appreciate your presence and your love today. You bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that we can remember Miss Maxine, and the life that we shared with her and those all around us. Lord, we thank you for the blessing of the memories, our family, and the friends present here today to help us to recount those things that bring back such positive things in our lives. Lord, we ask that you keep us through this service. Let us, as we go from here, let us look for support from you. Let us, as a family, support one another, and then our friends, appreciate and love for the support they give us. Let us always look to you for that comfort. Let us know that your plan is greater than ours. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the family, we want to thank you so much for the outpouring of love and affection that you have shown us over the last several days. Being a part of this family always reminds me how much we are loved and how much we love you guys as well. This county, this place of Centerville, Tennessee, is unlike any other. It's unique in a way that is a family bond that you can't create anywhere else. And we've truly felt that. We also want to be mindful and thank you for, and extend thanks to Miss Janice Tyler. Janice is up here with us today as a part of our family because she has offered so much care to both Mama and Papa over the last several months. She has been a tireless worker. She has done everything we've asked her to do, and she's become pretty much just like family. She got to spend some time with Mama and Papa that none of us really had the opportunity to do. And we'll forever cherish those things that she has done for us. And Janice, we thank you. As a little boy, I can remember having this overwhelming feeling come over me from time to time. I can remember having the thought of losing someone close to me, and it would just cripple me, stop me in my path. I can remember each time I had this thought, I would stop and pray, because I didn't know what else to do. And for the first 30 years of my life, I was insulated from that fear. For the first 30 years of my life, I lost no one close to me. Then in 2011, we lost my Papa McNabb. And 10 months to the very day that we stand here right now, I lost my dad. And today, we stand here to lay to rest my mama. Life has a unique way in a short span of time of really waking you up and making you realize what is important. And over the last 8 years, even though that great childhood fear has manifested its way 3 different times in my life, God continues to see us through. He's seen our family through. And God has never and will never leave us. I'm reminded of Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And yes, God has kept His promise. He has sustained us, and He will forever. Today, as I said, it marks my third memorial service to lead in as a family member. It's something that I have looked upon as sort of my job, to give honor to whom honor is due. And it's something that I take great pride in as I get to honor a fallen family member. There's an infamous country music star. He's gone now, but his name was Conway Twitty. Anybody ever heard of him? He had a song that was called That's My Job. And it's become one of my favorites because what it does, it chronicles a life of a dad. And how a dad is supposed to be for his son. And at the end of that song, the dad has passed away and gone on, and now it's up to that son to do a job to honor a fallen family member. Today I stand before you seeing that as my job. Something that I'm proud to do. And something that I would never be anywhere else other than where I'm at right now. So today, what I want to do is talk about what Mama's job was. And in my estimation, I saw 3 roles that Mama had as a job. Let me pause right here just for 1 second. As I share this, I want you all to realize that there are a lot of things in this life that I'm proud of. But being the grandson of Frank and Maxine Atkinson is one of the most. And I'm going to try my best today to paint a picture to honor my mama that I think she would be proud of. First, Mama had 3 jobs, and that first job was that of a wife. For the past 66 years, it's been Frank and Maxine. It was never just Papa or Mama, it was Papa and Mama. You didn't see one without the other. As Scott said, they were married on February the 7th, 1953. He was 20, she's 17, but Papa said the other day, I may have told him that she was 18. Mama once told Lindsey that I thought this was great because they were married in Corinth, Mississippi, and she said at that time, really all they had to their name was a cast iron skillet and a quilt. I told Papa that the other day, and he made sure to tell me I had a good job, and I could provide. We know that. I thought, cast iron skillet and a quilt, what else would you need as you start to get married? Something to cook and something to keep you warm. That's how they started off their life together. Papa and Mama's life together was a full one. And Papa's words, his exact words, is Maxine was always good to me. I never had to ask her to do anything. She always took care of me. Mama took care of Papa in ways, in many, many ways, and she always made sure he looked his best. That was very important to Mama. Many times she would pick out his clothes for him to wear. She'd see him dressed up, and I can still see her pull on his lapels to make sure everything was nice and straightened out. Mama would spend hours starching and ironing, taking up shirts for Papa. You could go look in his closet. He had a cut shirt in every color, short sleeve, because he hates long sleeves, short sleeves, and they were all lined up, nicely pressed, ready to go. And I've worn a Mama starched shirt before. She did it right. It could stand up on its own. Mama took care of things at the jail, too. In 1964, when Papa was elected sheriff for the first time, he moved his family to the living quarters at the Hickman County Jail. And of course, without hesitation, Mama followed with Pam and Mom. While at the jail, Mama did it all, according to Papa. He said, I couldn't have made it without her at the jail. She did more than anyone. I would have had to hire 3 people to do all the jobs she did, and that would have cost the county extra money. Serving at the jail was the way that Mama could help take care of Papa. She was a wife, and that was her job. And that's what she did, and she did it well. Over the years, I could tell that being with Papa was what Mama always really wanted. She was his right arm, and even though she might grumble a bit, she still loved being Papa's wife. And she wouldn't have traded it for the world. Mama was first a wife. That was her job, and she did it well. Proverbs 31, verse 10 through 12 says, "A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life." The second job that Mamaw had that I observed many times was to be a mother to Pam and Susan, who was my mom. Can you imagine raising two little girls at the jail? Just fathom that for a second. Can you imagine raising two little girls at the jail? It's hard to imagine, but our family can't imagine anything but that. And there are many times where we all say, Papa would tell us we were all raised in jail, and that's just the truth of the matter. But Mamaw did this with class and dignity. I never saw that living quarters decorated by Mamaw, but I can only imagine, knowing what her house is like, what that place looked like. It would have been a home. Pam and Mom will tell you that every stitch of clothing they wore on most occasions were hand-sewn by Mamaw. She even handmade Mom's wedding dress that had 50 hand-sewn buttons on the back. Mamaw was very talented in seamstress. Mamaw always said that she wanted her children to have it better than she did, and she worked really hard to make that happen. Pam said she can remember that Mamaw would dress them for church or school, making them wear, and I learned this word, didn't know what it was, 2 can-cans, sometimes 3 can-cans, underneath their dress to make it poof out. Mamaw wanted to make sure that they looked like pulling on Papa's lapels, really nice, and they always wanted to make sure they looked their best. Mamaw was just as much a protector of her children as she was a Papa. On one occasion, while my mom, Susan, was in high school, in the 70s, they evidently wore skirts a little shorter than they did in the 60s and 50s, and Mamaw had made the skirt and outfit Mom was wearing. Well, there was a teacher in school that didn't like the length, and so Mom said that she got in trouble and sent her to Mr. Grant Coble, who was the principal at the time. And whatever happened, Mom got home and told Mamaw the story, and she said, I can see Mamaw's eyebrows raised up, and she said, "You tell that woman, when she starts making your clothes, she can tell you what to wear." That's Mamaw. That's Mamaw. She had a way of saying things. From my view, Mamaw instilled several redeeming qualities into the lives of her daughters. One, a commitment to work. Pam has worked for 46 years next door at this bank. And in my estimation, she's an institution in the town of Centerville. She's loyal, she's a hard worker, she provides, and she gives. Mamaw taught her that. Also, my mom. When Mamaw quit her job at the jail, so to speak, Mom took over. She was Papa's right-hand man in the later years of his sheriff run, and especially in office. There's nobody who can get it done like Susan. Nobody who can get it done like Pam and Susan. That's a quality that Mamaw taught them. Second was she taught them to stand up to believe in what you thought was right. Pam and Mom would both give you the shirt off their backs, and they see no difference in you no matter your lot in life. Jailbirds were some of our family. We grew up with them. They were part of who we were. Nobody is treated any differently, and Mamaw made sure that they learned that from her. Third was a commitment to family. Mamaw always did what was best for the family. And I can speak for my mom and my aunt. They do the same thing. It's family first. I have no doubt that Pam and my mom made Mamaw proud. Ladies, I want you to know that. I have no doubt. In a lot of ways, they both reflect some of the many wonderful aspects that Mamaw possessed. Except neither one of them ever sold me any clothes. Proverbs 31, 27 and 28 says, "She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and will call her blessed, her husband also, and he also praises her." Mamaw's second job was that of a mother, and she did it well. Finally, as a grandmother, My first memory in life has Mama in it. It was mid-June, 1983. I was spending the night at Mama and Papa's house because Lindsey was about to be born. I distinctly remember laying in the bed that night, Papa there, Mama there, and I can remember talking about Slewfoot, an old dog that Papa had. I don't know if he was still alive at that point, but I can remember talking about it. I remember lying in bed that night, and the next day they taking me to see my newborn sister. And Mama would never, if she were here today, she would never let me live down, that as a baby, I was always hungry and I never slept. She would never let me live that down. And I remember many a Christmas Eve when we had our traditional Christmas gathering for our family. We would be at Mama and Papa's house, and she would leave after we'd opened presents to head over to the jail to put turkeys in the oven for Christmas dinner. And she'd stay up all night babysitting those turkeys. A dinner, by the way, that was made for all the fixings, all the traditional trimmings, and she would serve to the entire county employee staff that were working that day. We would take plates everywhere, delivering those that Mama had made. And she'd also feed our family as well. How many of you can say you had Christmas dinner at the jail? We can. Thank you, Mama. I will never forget the loaves upon loaves of bread she would fill my car with as I made the trek back to Arkansas. There were times where I would take 5 to 7 loaves of sourdough bread, her knowing full well I could not eat all of those before they ruined, but I never had a problem giving them away. People from all over the country knew Maxine Atkinson because of her bread. Always sliced, always ready to go, always good. Mama showed us that she loved us in so many ways, but doing things like this was definitely one of them. I will forever remember this last Christmas when I was home. Mama was heartbroken, and she's been heartbroken ever since Papa's memory started slipping. It was really something that was really hard on her. And just last Christmas, when I walked in and went over to greet her and give her a hug, she started crying and looking at me and just talking. I listened. I hugged her, I looked her in the eye and told her thank you for all that she has done for us and our family, and said, I love you. She looked back and said, I know you do. I love you too. Mama's job was that of a grandmother, and she did it well. Finally, let me share with you some memories that Lindsey would share if she were standing up here today. She said, if I could have handpicked my grandparents, I would have picked these two every time. Such a sharp-dressed gentleman and a beautiful lady. Through the years, when people would speak of Mama, they would say these two things. Maxine has always been a beautiful lady. And Maxine was so talented and smart. I would have to agree with both of these statements. As long as Lindsey can remember, she said she loved me. Mama made all my church and school clothes throughout elementary school. She made sewing seem magical. I spent a lot of time with Mama at the jail as she was working, and many days and evenings at their house while Mama was working late. Mama wasn't one to say much, but what she said, she felt, and what she felt, she said, and what she thought was not going to change. All deep feelings. When I knew I was expecting Knox, Lindsey says, Knox Thompson Bailey, which is named after Mama's maiden name, Thompson. I remember telling Mama and watching her eyes fill up with pride, and her smile was just a little bit different that day. Mama loved the way that Lindsey dressed Knox and Sloan, and it gave her such happiness to check out their clothes from head to toe. I can see her turning them around right now. That's what she would do. She often told Knox, Knox, you fill out your pants perfectly. That cute little bottom. She said to Sloan, Sloan, you're the prettiest little girl. And she patted her on her thighs. Once Mama stopped driving, Lindsey had the privilege to be her personal grocery shopper every Thursday. And she took much pride in getting her needs and wants. And Lindsey said I would throw in her favorite candy. Mama could live on sweets. And loved seeing her smile when she opened this. And I can see her saying the very same that Lindsey said. I don't need this. Knowing she would eat it probably before she went to bed, all of it. My heart is full of memories, Lindsey says. Mama was always good to me in so many ways I can't explain. I never once questioned her love for me and for my children. Just last Friday night, when Lindsey was home, she hugged Mamaw and told her that she liked her PJs and said, "I love you, Mamaw." To which Mamaw replied, "I love you too." And Lindsey knew she did. She added, "I hope she's resting." Mamaw's job was that of a grandmother, and she did it well. Proverbs 31:25-26 says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue." In closing, I want to just read a little bit of what Lindsey said on one of her posts on Facebook. And I think it opens up to where we stand today as mortal beings here on this earth. And it speaks some truth to us. Life isn't meant to stay the same, she said. Life can give you some hard licks. It can knock you down. You can get back up, and it'll knock you down again. But we choose to live. We learn, we love, and above all, we grow. We pass along all the good things that have been passed along to us. And ladies and gentlemen, that has become my lot in life. To pass along the good things, because many people have passed it along to me. And my mama was one of them. And thank you, God, for another day to impact the lives around us, to show His love, His mercy, and His grace. Today, all of us here today have been impacted by the life of this wife, mother, and grandmother, Maxine Atkinson. Now the Lord would beg to us to go out and make an impact on the world around us. Again, thank you for being here today. Your presence and your love and support fills us up and helps us move on. I love this quote. It's taken from Isaiah chapter 40. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. God bless you.